Hello. Getting my gloves all stretched out and whatnot. Put these on in a minute. Let's get back again. I don't know about you guys, but I am already exhausted from this week. I am exhausted. I'm playing like solo dad right now while my wife is out of the country. And I will tell you, kids, they will knock you out. It will knock you out. So forgive me if I'm a little tired. I'm sure once I start talking, I'll get into my normal talky, loud talky self. So, hey, Dave, how are you, man? I love that you love the book, Dave from the UK. Hope you're well, friend. Fiend. I got the book right here. I'm gonna do the bookie wook. I guess I'll just share the stream. Hey, Rue, how the fuck am I? I am exhausted. I'm exhausted, but I'm here. I'm trying to keep Monday as the streaming day for now until it switches again. Hey, what's going on, Michael B. Jeffers? And Francois, how are you? Hey, Francois, that was really great. Thanks for sharing your music. Francois shared his band with us in the group. It was really nice to hear his music, man. So I commend you, Francois, for sharing. We had a couple other people sharing the group. That was really nice. You know what? Maybe I'll pull that up real quick. Let's just see. We'll put some of those links in the thing while I'm doing this thing. Get that all started. We have a lot of creative people in the group, and I just love people coming out of their shell and being like, hey, this is my thing and this is my thing. I think it's nice, it's just it's good to see everybody sort of sharing their shiz. That's right, Rue. Kids will do that to you. They will. My son is going to be 5 and my daughter is 1.5, and man, it's that age, man. It is that age. So hold on, let me see if I could find this. See, my energy's already returning. Just coming on here right now. I needed this. I needed to just sort of, do my thing. Hold on, I'm just gonna share this to the group. You can share stuff around, everybody. Just ready this right here. Post. There's one. We'll do it again to the group. Then I'll have my undivided attention. Okay. All right, cool. That's enough of that. We're going to do the same thing that we did last time. I thought that worked incredibly well with the, we have the phone here, split screen style, and we're just going to go, let's finish this book, huh? Let's finish this book. We've got more other things. Okay. Some housekeeping. Oh, right. I said I was going to get the links. My B. That's why I knew I was forgetting something. We have a couple of housekeeping items too. Well, yeah, first let me find. You know what? Just go to the group, okay? Just if you don't belong to the group, join the group. Look for this. Just read through our posts. We have a lot of fun posts. Everybody's posting really nice, fun content. Here's something. Francois posted this, and I really liked it. The computers are Misfits. This was not his band, but this is stupendous. I do not want that to. There we go. No, we don't want to hear it. Don't want my stream to get taken down. This is stupendous. I don't know what it is. I really like that. Just posted that there in the comments. That's one of them. And then Francois, where's your other music? We got This guy John, he put Lust for Flesh, but that's not what I'm looking for. Francois. Here it is. Okay. Here's Francois's music. Francois is in the group. He's an enthusiastic member of our group, our wonderful little Lodi community, whatever you want to call it. And here is his shiz. So check out Francois's music, okay? I like that. I like showing people's music. There's one link that's Francois's music, and then the other one, this is shit. And I don't know how you would describe it exactly. I think I need to give it another listen to really masticate over what it is. But I dig it. There's another link right there. Michael B. Jeffers picked up his copy of the book today. Congratulations. Oh, so whoever has a book, hey guys, if you have a book, open up your book to page yada yada, page yada yada yada. Mike Watson says, I just jumped on to you putting on rubber gloves. Shit's going down tonight. Yeah. So Mike, let me explain the rubber gloves. So I bought the book, and when I was going in one of the previous episodes, I was getting smudges all over the book, and it was embarrassing. And my fingers I chew the shit out of my fingers. Been doing it since I was 5. I hear that there's actually some sort of diagnosis for that, by the way. And Necros are a great band, Dave. And Jesus, what was I just saying? Lost my train of thought. Yeah, my nails are chewed to shit, and I'm getting prints all over the book. So I figured the best thing I can do and it's really hot to wear these gloves down in this basement. I'm not gonna lie, but I want to keep the book in good condition, so I do that. So we're before we dive into the book, we have to I just want to address something real quick. So my little spiel, my little coffee spiel real quick. We have a few new supporters, and I just want to shout them out on the air. Some of them, we have Tim Ackerman, Tim the truck driver, who has once again given another injection to the coffee fund. And so, Tim, I salute you as we're calling these double platinum members or something. So I'm going to put an X and a 2 next to your name on the executive credit producer list for 1979 when you double dip. A guy, Peter Roloff. Peter, thank you so much for donating to the cause. I really appreciate it, buddy. Rock on. Sorry, that was so lame. Peter, thank you. I just want to say thank you. I just hate, you know what? I don't want to say the same thank you over and over. I'm trying to like change up my thank you. And Rue once again gave another coffee for dinner, coffee for lunch, coffee for breakfast, coffee for brunch, coffee at every single meal. Why can't we have some guts? Thank you, Rue. Again, I salute you. Sorry. See? I'm already my wacky self. And another double. So we had 3 people re-up their support. And I salute all of you. And you know what? If you only support once, this is not a contest. This is just acknowledgement for the people that care enough to support. And I appreciate that. That is really nice. So Francois, thank you so much for your double support again. And Francois is who I was just talking about, actually. I just saw here. Francois shared his music. So like I said, join our little group. Check out everybody's content. Everybody's posting really, really great stuff. Francois says, even us didn't know how to call the music. Maybe indie rock. No, Francois, it's not indie rock. It's indie rock, but I don't know. Let me masticate on it. Let me listen again, and the next episode maybe I'll have more to say about it. But it is great, and I do enjoy it, and you should check it out. It's in the comments under his YouTube links for Francois from Canada. And Mike says, can't go wrong with blue nitrate gloves. I have the book. Yeah, dude, get your gloves on then. Chris says it's a great book. Chris, I agree. And Francois, I appreciate that you guys care a lot. Okay, so that's all of that. 1979, still doing work on it. Did a lot more work on it. All I can say is you can't get to 1979 without the static age, and you can't get to the static age without Cough Cool. And if you understand what all of that means, then you will really appreciate it. And believe me, the first person that wants this done and like put to bed is me, because I am tired of working on it. I am tired of slaving away on it, but it is coming. Oh, it is coming. Some of you have seen some of it already in the group. I posted a little preview. Join our group if you have not. Group, because that's literally all I'm saying. It's group. So there's that. Next up, okay, an update on merchandising. So, all right, so I have some designs. I'm looking into a on-demand fulfillment print service. So it's really non-committal. I created some designs. I'm going to put them up there, and I'm going to start just putting it out there. And there's no expectations. Maybe the design, maybe nobody will dig the designs. And if not, that's fine too. I'm trying to want to expand the brand. So we're going to do that. We're doing that in a way. These designs are very inside baseball. So if you are an inside baseball person when it comes to Misfits, Samhain, Danzig, then you will really appreciate what we got cooking here. That's all I'm going to say. I'll give you one hint. November coming fire. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's get to the book, because I got to wake up. I got to drive my son to his camp tomorrow, and take care of my daughter. Lots of stuff to do. Cannot dilly-dally any further. Okay, I have the stream link. This is what I did last time, right? Clicking on that. Entering the broadcast studio. Here we go. There I am. And yeah, we had that. We want to mute the mic. There we go. I'm going to call it Stream with Me. Lower that as much as possible. And then we're going to add the stream. And bravo. Shit. When I have the gloves on, I can't move the trackpad. No. There she goes. All right. I love that. I want more. Guys, do we have more books to do? We have fucking Misery Perfectum. Misery Obscura. Sorry. By the way, that is something else I didn't mention. Erie was trying to do a documentary himself called Misery Perfectum, and that never. We were talking about Misfits Samhain Danzig related projects. That was another one. Misery Perfectum. We have Misery Obscura, and man, I got to tell you, somebody point me in the direction where I can buy the Teenagers from Mars book. I'm gonna pick that up, and we'll go through that too. Seriously, like no joke. So, yeah, Chris, I usually don't talk about my kids and stuff on here. I just I don't know, because my wife is away. I just the full brunt of the work is on me, so I've just been very, very inundated lately. Trying to do work on the movie when my daughter is asleep. You gotta do a whole, oh, god damn it, I'm getting all these things. You know what? Maybe I should put that on. See what happens when I do that. Oh no, we lost the stream. Sorry guys, real quick. Hold on, it's coming back. Come on, we're losing them. There we go. All right, we're back. All right, let's do it, man. Who remembers where we left off? I think it was Earth AD, right? We left off at Earth AD. We got that glare again, so let's move our light away. Put our light behind us for dramatic effect. Oh, now I remember what happened. Okay, that's why that happened. Oh, no. We're going through the den. Here's my set list. Okay. All right. There we go. That was the secret sauce right there. We're plugged back in. We got our Scream With Me book. I noticed that when I moved my head like this, you couldn't hear, hard to hear. It's hard to read. It's hard to read and do this at the same time. I'm not going to lie, especially with these glasses on. Okay. Well, it's always hard to read for me. Here we are. Been through that. Did 3 hits. I think we got right. The band. So the way that they structured this book. Yes, Dave. I do have a bit of a movie collection. Maybe we'll do. We'll go through that one day. I got a lot of stuff. I'm actually, Dave, from your side of the pond. I love Arrow Video. They put out some great stuff. All right, we did all that. We did that. We did that. We did that. We did Evilive. And remember, folks, I am literally going through this as I see this book. As I turn the page, I'm seeing this book for the first time. So every time I turn a page, it's my first time seeing that page. Okay, Jacob Brannon from Converge and Deathwish says, my favorite album is Earth AD, Wolf's Blood, which may not be the most popular choice. It was weird, fast, and sounded dangerous. I called it punk thrash back then, and I think the bizarre classification still made sense. No record in the world sounds like that, and I still love it to this day. A few notes about that. John Steinhammer, a.k.a. the voice of Doom, says the Teenagers book is out of print. There's one on eBay right now for $350. It's crazy. I have to tell you, I really regret not pulling the trigger on that book. And I don't know, remember what it was. Sometimes I get weird with pre-orders where I go, I'll just wait. And it was so stupid. I should have ordered 2 copies, man. I was not fucking thinking. It was really dumb. And you know what? There are 2 copies of this book at my local Borders books, Barnes & Noble. Sorry, not Borders is gone. R.I.P. Borders. And I am so going to go there and pick them up and put them on eBay for $350. Not literally, but literally. That's a shame because I would love to go through that book. So I don't know. I'll keep my eyes. Listen, if anybody sees a copy reasonably priced, please send it my way. Please post it in the group. I will buy it simply for the purpose of doing what I did here, where we go through it and we look through it together and just sort of like oogle over the pictures. Using a lot of made up words tonight. Okay, so a couple of things to talk about here. First of all, we've been discussing in the group, we've been talking a little bit about Earth AD. Somebody brought up, and I guess this is like a Captain Obvious sort of moment. It was not for me. I never thought, Earth AD is a weird one, right? Like it's a really weird album for a lot of reasons. They're changing their sound. So, hardcore is starting to explode at the seams, and this band that's been around since 1977, gone through several lineup changes, and in turn, sort of become a different band every time they change their lineups, is now thrusted fully into the, or I should say, the cutting edge of what hardcore was at that time. They're doing shows with bands like, like Gangrene or, whatever, just all these faster, younger bands that have just formed and are just going super duper fast. Even in Lodi, you got Morning Noise and you got Rosemary's Babies, and those are bands of the hardcore era. They are not bands that came before, and they're both sort of born of that same ilk of like, punk rock with fusing, pop culture horror imagery in the vein of the Misfits. All those dudes love the Misfits. You have Eerie in one band and Zing in another band, and both of them would go on and do Samhain with Glenn. And so, there's a lot to say about this album in the sense that, like, first and foremost, it was supposed to be slower, right? The songs are supposed to be more atmospheric. They got sped up by Jerry and Doyle for a lot of reasons. And those dudes liked listening to heavy metal, Van Halen and stuff, and played fast. And, it's funny, they tracked it live, right? So Earth AD was tracked live. So I guess that kind of makes it a live album in the same way that Static Age is a live album if they're playing it all live, right? And it's kind of amazing how perfect it sounds live in a controlled environment versus them playing those songs live at a sloppy punk show, sloppy hardcore show, where, you know, they are speeding so fast and flying off the rails. And so, yeah, it's a weird, and people call it thrash. You know, I don't really know. What is the someone look this up. What is the definition of thrash music? They call it thrash punk, thrash metal. So are they saying it's the fusion of thrash metal with punk, thrash punk? I don't know. He says, but you know, people call it a template. It was a template for a lot of things. It was a very influential record. It's kind of weird when you think about that Earth AD is the most influential or incredibly influential in its own right. But not necessarily for hardcore bands, but for metal bands. You know, a lot of metal bands, you know, love Earth AD. Look at the Metallica guys, you know. I mean, they like all the earlier stuff too, but they love them some Earth AD. So I think that's pretty interesting. So it's this weird thing. And here's Glenn taking purple and green and fusing them together and making it like the most beautiful, like, color matching scheme of all time, you know, because purple is typically not seen as a masculine thing. And I feel like Glenn is like reclaiming it with this album and making it royal. Roos says Glenn didn't like the way Earth AD came out. Right. He talks about that in the Pusshead interview, I think. And he said, yeah, I didn't like the way it came out. And, you know, what's part of the reason for that? Why do all those later live recordings suffer? They suffer because the band is playing faster, which means Glenn has to sing faster. And when Glenn has to sing faster, they're already playing fast. They're already playing fast in 78. So it's like for them to sing for him to sing even faster at breakneck speed, there's no room for melody. Where does the melody go? You know, the melody has to surf on top of the instrumentation. It can't, because he has to already be on the next, you know, the killer lovers and I keep it to the thief. Every night I go around the stuff if I keep dream. Look upon me, I am the best. Damn on a man, damn on. Even though those songs are actually from 80. Well, yeah, I guess they're still Earth AD songs. Whatever. Interesting to say the least. It's an interesting record. It came out after they broke up. So the way they structure this book, which I like the way they do this. Here's the last show. This is the last show, right? And then the very next thing is Earth AD, because that's what happened. And then after Earth AD came Die Die My Drawing. So let's take a look. And there she is. In my opinion, one of the greatest album covers ever made of all time. This is by Mad Mark Rude, who had a Mad Max style, the Road Warrior leather jacket, right? Eric Danielson says, Earth AD Wolf's Blood is the perfect album that captures the unique character of the band, consistently violent and sinister to the core. So look, here's the other thing I failed to mention in my opening spiel is that Earth AD Wolf's Blood is, you know, and again, I can't take credit for this. Someone else said this in the group. Apparently this is like the official thing. I don't even know that, like, if that's true. I'm like, whoa, kind of blew my mind. Is that this is a double EP. This is not an album. It's 9 songs. It's 4 songs on one side and 4 or 3 songs. No, 5, right? I can't add. Not only can I not read, I can't add. You have 4 songs and 5 songs, right? So you have the first EP is Earth AD, Queen Wasp, Devil Lock, Death Comes Ripping, and Green Hell. And then the second EP is Wolf's Blood, Daemonomania, Blood Feast, and Hellhound. And all right, should we do let's do it, man. Let's fucking deep dive on this shit real quick. So, you know, I say this all the time. I say it online all the time. Because I love it. I say it because I love it. I've always said that Earth AD, because I heard Alex Story say this in his interview for my documentary for They Came From Lodi, the guy from Cancer Slug and Doyle singer. He said Earth AD is one song divided up into 9 parts. I thought that was really succinct and cool. However, somebody else pointed this out to me, and I wish if next time I ever cross paths with Alex, I will bring this up. I'm sure he'll appreciate it because that dude loves the fucking Misfits. So right here is your first EP, and thematically, these songs all kind of line up, and thematically, these songs all kind of line up. These songs right here, I guess, they're kind of sung from a first-person autobiographical perspective, right? So Wolf's Blood. Wolf's Blood. You don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna butcher these lyrics, guys. You don't know what. You know what? Someone post them in the comments, please. Who is the lyrics? Who is the Lords of the Left Hand book? Somebody post that shit. Wolf's Blood. You don't know who I'm talking to. No one ever did. You don't know what I'm talking to. Blah 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 blah. My head. Blah blah blah. And Glenn's talking about the process of becoming a werewolf, right? Daemonomania. It's like a autobiographical story. Look upon me. I am the beast. Daemonomania. 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 My mother was a whore. My father was a wolf. You know, I want to be the fucking savior. Humans are weak. What else you fucking do? Humans are weak. I want to drink your blood. So it's like someone. It's like they're singing. Glenn is singing about all of these like sort of like demonic things about himself. Maybe like about being a werewolf. You know, that's what the Wolf's Blood is about. He's got it tattooed, right? Isn't that what we do? We psychologically profile Glenn Danzig here, trying to get inside of his head and trying to figure out who the fuck he is, right? Then you got Blood Feast. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to now turn to the comments section. We're going to talk about that for a second. First, Francois says, Dan Palladio says, shit, sorry, I lost it. Oh, thank you, John. John posted the lyrics. Let me see if I can. Boom, look at that. Well done, John. Well fucking done. Hey, John, if you got any more Earth AD lyrics, keep them coming. I'm kind of tied up at the moment, but I appreciate any help. Thank you again. Shout out to the Voice of Doom. So Dan Palladio, took me years to love Earth AD. Cool. I can understand that. A lot of people don't like Earth AD. For me, it's just like any of my other children. I love all my children the same, right? I love all these fucking songs, all 53 of them, 54 of them, right? Francois says, I don't know if I'm right, but I heard the music was recorded and the vocals were added 1 year later. That's right. In 1982, while out in LA, they recorded it, or out in California, they recorded the music overnight with Spot. They did some scratch vocals. And then they came back and finished it on back in New Jersey in 83. Right. All the while they're waiting for Mad Mark Rude to finish that album cover. Michael B. Jeffers said, I read that Blood Feast was originally written for Samhain, which kind of explains why it's my favorite on the album. That is true. Blood Feast is originally a Samhain song. As far as I know, a bunch of these songs are Samhain songs. I'm not sure which other ones. I think maybe even Earth AD. Point is that a lot of this material, Glenn is, and you notice like he's starting to deviate from Earth AD. Wolf's Blood is a brutal fucking album. He's writing about the darker side of things. It's he's not writing about Halloween from the 1950s like he did with the Misfits. He's writing about Samhain from 3,000 years ago with this sort of stuff, right? Dan says Samhain side of the record. Interesting, Dan. Interesting. Blood Feast is easily a Samhain song. Yeah. I mean, they played it in Samhain too. It was supposed to be, and he gave it to the project. And lastly, let's go back to what the Voice of Doom has right here. Wolf's Blood. You don't know what I fucking am, what I become. Not when I get like this. You can never get me down in my head. It's my blood. It flows right through. It flows right fucking through my veins. I feel it in. I love this. I love it so much. I love it when he's singing this. You can really feel it. You feel the piss and vigor in his voice when he's singing this. And I feel my vertebrae extending, and I feel my heart expanding, and I feel my muscles rip, and I feel my snout expand, that I know that I'm not a man, and I go right out of my head, and it's my blood. He's singing from this I perspective, right? He's singing from the I, me, I, and he's doing it again with Daemonomania and Blood Feast too. I believe Blood Feast. He's also yeah, because I just can't fake it, and the blood is real. I love that song because I just can't fake it. Yeah, so it's like everything is I. It's like, again, it's not autobiographical, but it's almost like semi-autobiographical in the way of like, this is how Glenn is sort of envisioning himself. Maybe, again, I don't know any of this stuff. This is just, I am a fucking Misfits nerd commentator analyzing Glenn's lyrics and music and trying to understand where he's coming from. Not a fucking expert. Don't actually fucking know. Just want to put that out there. But from what it seems. And then the first part, it's like, this is the world, right? This is the world of Earth AD, Earth after Doomsday, where this Wolf's Blood character kind of exists in, right? You have Earth AD, and talking about the end of days, and like, it's inspired by The Hills Have Eyes, and goes into Queen Wasp, literally talking about a Queen Wasp. I believe I have to review the lyrics. Into Devilock, I believe. Okay, so Tanner, I don't know if you're here, but if you watch the stream later, please post it. Tanner had some interesting. He posts. Oh, you know what? We analyzed Devilock on a previous episode, and the lyrics were different. And it was something about like, I am cancer. Something like I am cancer was the chorus. And I don't know if that was very interesting. And then Death Comes Ripping is about death coming, right? And Green Hell, we're in Green Hell, so I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I could go deeper on all those things, but for the sake of time, let's move on. Point is that this right here is the Wolf's Blood EP, which came out in Germany, right? Even though it had all the songs. And this is the Earth AD. So this is the world this is Earth after Doomsday, right? And this is Wolf's Blood. This is me as I transform into a werewolf with the wolf's blood in my veins. I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's a way more intricate, subversive art piece than we may think. And I just love, man, he did this in pen and ink, and it is gorgeous, man. The line work, and you could see all the members of the band. So they're right. Sorry, I'm trying to guide that's Robo. I believe that's supposed to be Doyle, maybe. That is Glenn, maybe. And that is Jerry. I don't know, whatever. It's Glenn, Jerry, and Doyle, and Robo. Michael B. Jeffers says, as much as I love Misfits, Samhain is my favorite Danzig band, but Danzig doesn't give it the love it deserves, not on any streaming services, and the albums are out of print. Michael, I love Samhain. I fucking love Samhain. And man, I could go riff on Samhain a lot right now, but I'm not going to. All I'm going to say is they are a death rock band by the way of hardcore. They are almost punk rock of punk rock, in the sense that here's a band that's doing this really interesting post-hardcore music, because that's what it is. It's post-hardcore. If the Misfits were hardcore and Samhain came after it, then that would make the Samhain, in a way, a post-hardcore death rock band. And they are fascinating to no end. And I also love them too. And from what I understand, I believe Bruce, Doyle's manager, said Glenn hates streaming services, and that is I don't know, he's weary of streaming services, and that's why it hasn't been reissued. I hope it gets reissued. All those records get reissued. I will buy them all up. I already own Initium. Look back for my Initium story on how I required my Initium. Andre says Robo has a Black Flag logo on his jacket. Let's see if we can find it. Right there. That's from Evil Dead. Obviously, that's Ash's sister from Evil Dead. There's a lot of Easter eggs in here. Yeah, I think it's hard to see. There's some sort of Black Flag thing somewhere. But yeah, there's a lot of little hidden Easter eggs. I wonder who that is. That's somebody from somewhere. Okay, come on, we gotta keep going, guys. And then here's all the beautiful. Look at this. Wow, man, they really went to town with this final record. I mean, by this point, Glenn's like, man, the vinyl game is the colored vinyl game is what's up. So you have a green beast. There's only 100 of these in existence, as far as I know. There's a clear one with some purple. This is what people go crazy for. So Glenn doesn't clean the press, and then people agonize over, oh, I got my white or clear or whatever copy this is, and it's got some purple splotches, but this one has more splotching. Like, people look at these patterns, they go crazy. I think that's black or purple. I can't tell with my sunglasses on. This is some sort of pink and orange. Boy, what a genius thing to do. The evolution of the Misfits seems perfect for me. There's a quirky, massive, and funny, and everything else in speed metal anyway, right? What? There's quirky, massive, and funny, and everything else ends in speed metal anyway, right? Yes, agreed. So there you go. There's the cover. There's the color cover of Wolf's Blood, and this is done. This was for Aggressive Rock Records in Germany. They were going to tour Germany after that final show. They were supposed to go to Germany, man. They couldn't get a drummer together. We've talked about this. The boys, Jerry and Doyle wanted Googie back, or they wanted to get Robo back, and Glenn refused, and they got Brain Damage. We're going to go over Brain Damage's story someday. Here is I'm not going to read this. This is a blurb from, actually, maybe we should read this one. This one's okay to read because it's short. And then here, whoa, look at this. Look at that, man. Look at that colored. Holy crap. I've never seen that. That's blowing my mind. It's like colored all differently from this one. God. Look at that demon dick right there. Holy shit. And then here's a colored. So are these hand colored or alternative front and back of the full color Aggressive Rock production jackets? Wow. Look at that, man. That is something else. Truly, truly. All right, so I'm going to read this real quick because I feel like I'm going to hold it over this because this is so pretty. All right, here's my thumbnail. Here's my thumbnail. All right, ready? Okay, that's for YouTube. I first heard the Misfits in September 1985. I was a freshman in high school and trying to make friends. September 1985, 2 months before I was born. I first heard the Misfits in September 1985. I was a freshman in high school and trying to make friends by talking to anyone who was interested in BMX or skateboarding. Musically, I was interested in Ozzy, Rush, Iron Maiden, and even Rum DMC. When I started to learn about punk through Thrasher magazine, I didn't have any punk at that point because my friends and older cousins were metalheads. That all changed when a kid in my new school gave me a 90-minute Maxwell cassette tape. This is what happens, man. These cassette tapes were they were the underground radio. They were the off-air, like podcast. They're like podcasts, man. They're like the off-air podcast versions. Here, hey man, listen to this tape. This pirated broadcast put on a tape. It's not really a broadcast, but in the sense of like broadcasting this music to you. I don't know. That actually sounds kind of like bullshit to me. I'm just riffing. 90-minute Maxwell cassette tape with the Sex Pistols and the Dead Kennedys on one side and the Exploited and the Misfits on the other. The Misfits was Earth AD Wolf's Blood. And I didn't get into it as quickly as the other three because it sounded too noisy and chaotic for my taste. I can understand that. But when I noticed the beginning drum fill of Death Comes Ripping, it was very similar to the opening fill for Over the Mountain by Ozzy. Oh, I got to listen to that. I started paying close attention. The Misfits were like the raw and more badass version of the metal than I had been listening to. That's Daryl Taberski from Snapcase. That is so interesting, man. So that's why metal heads get. I always ask this question when I was doing my interviews all those years ago. I'd say, what gives Misfits the metal pass? And it's Earth AD. Earth AD is what gives the metal pass, because perhaps what really should be said, and I guess this is what we mean by thrash punk, to answer my question from earlier, is that Earth AD is like speed metal done by punkers, man. Is speed metal done by hardcore kids. It's metal interpreted through a hardcore filter. That's what it is. That's why metalheads love it so much, because it feels like metal to them in some way, shape, or form. It's just so fucking heavy. Look at that. That is the original artwork. I know it. I bet. Yep. Wolf's Blood artwork. Look at that. Circa 1983. The original pen and ink by Carol Stockard, courtesy of the artists. Just take a look. It's in a book. Reading Danzig. Look at this baby. What the fuck is going on? Look at that. That dude's balls. I never noticed that. Holy shit. You could see it. So that dude has a dick. He has a snake dick. Look at that. He has a snake dick, and he has 2 skulls for testicles. Did Glenn go, listen, I want a guy, I want a werewolf with a wolf head and a body, and then I want him to have a snake dick and 2 testicles. I want his 2 testicles to look like skulls. That blows my mind, because you can't, I guess you can kind of see it there too. Huh. Do you know, I've never noticed that until just now. Has anybody else noticed that? I never noticed that. Holy shit. Man, what else do we got going on here? Boy, I would hate to run into that thing in the dark. Yeah, this is like a harpy right here, right? This is a harpy in the night. Eagle head, human titties, right? Michael B. Jeffers, I never noticed it either, man. Look at that fucking snake head. Holy shit. Right? Yeah, Robbie Bloodshed, man. Robbie noticed it too. Look at that, Robbie. This is crazy, right? That's what's so fun about going over this stuff in such detail, you know? Like you discover, and look at that face. There's like a face in there, right? It looks kind of like the Necronomicon. Poop coming out of the 3-headed wolf neck. Let's take a look. Yeah. Are you referring to that stuff right there? Maybe? Oh my God, that is a 3-headed wolf. That's Cerberus, man. That's like Cerberus. There's one head, there's another head, and there's another. Whoa. Holy shit. Guys, we're like archaeologists. This is so fun. We're such nerds. Take that off. It's been on there for a while. Carol, the artist behind this work, says, we heard the Misfits will be playing in Texas, so we drove from Austin to Houston to see them at the Rock Island Club. Got to hang out and worship them after the show. So Carol was a big fan. My buddy published a review of the show in his fanzine, Hymnal, and sent a copy to Danzig. My drawing just happened to be in that issue, and Glenn asked permission to use it, and I said, hell yes. He was super generous, sending me posters and all of their 45s in return. So Carol got paid handsomely in today's dollars. If he, I believe it's a he, if he hung on to those 45s, then he got paid several $1,000s for his work and had his work immortalized by a band that he loves deeply. Very interesting. I'm so glad this got a full splash page all of its own. It deserved it, man. Russell Casualty says, my mom sure as fuck noticed. She took a knife and scratched his. Oh, Russell, I needed that laugh. Wow. Russell Casualty says, my mom sure as fuck noticed it. She took a knife and scratched his nuts and snake cock. Dude, can I quote you on that? Oh my God. That is the fucking funniest shit I've ever heard. My mom sure as fuck noticed it. She took a knife and she scratched his nuts and his snake cock off. That's so great. Russell Casualty also says, I don't think, well, we got the answer, Russell. I just wasn't paying attention to the comments. So wow, that's interesting. So this was not commissioned. I mean, it's interesting though, just Glenn saw this and it fit in with what he, was looking for his, work. Dave says, so is this the kind of stuff Jerry was going to get freaked out about? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, so Russell, to clarify, says it was Russell Casually says it was on a t-shirt, not the album. Hilarious. Fucking hilarious. Woo. That was good. That was a good page. Let's turn to the next page. What are we gonna see? Oh, that's the end. That's the end of Evil Dead. Earth AD. Take another sip of my seltzer here. Can we make it through the rest of this book? Oh, we most certainly will. Thank the Lord. Not to say that this was not a treat and a pleasure, but man, I want to move on and do other stuff, but I felt that we diligently had to go through this book bit by bit. So this is a section on the Fiend Club. This book was organized in such a wonderful, brilliant way. Truly. Great book, Umberto. And to Tom and to Jeremy as well. Fiend Club and more. So this is from 1979 to 1981. And then from 1981 to 1983, it was, so this was Glenn's apartment. That's where Glenn lived, right? From 79 to 81. And he lived with the guys and the victims at one point, I believe. And then this was the P.O. box later on, the Grand Central Station. And Jeff Ament from Pearl Jam says, I read about the Misfits and Flipside, Forced Exposure, and Touch and Go fan. I had no idea this guy was such a fiend. And Touch and Go fanzines, and I ordered a Bullet t-shirt from the Fiend Club in the early 80s. I always loved their whole deal. So I'm rushing. I always loved how their whole deal was so original and that Glenn printed the shirts and did all the art himself. I was a big fan of the old Hammer horror films at the time, so the Misfits were absolutely the perfect punk soundtrack. Well said, Jeff from Pearl Jam. Ooh, look at that. So look, that's just like, wow. Does that look fucking familiar? That looks just like the shirt that I have, hand-colored in orange by Glenn. How about that? Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Andrew Onstead wearing the Night of the Living Dead shirt Glenn sent him. All right, I'm not going to read this. It's very long. Buy the book, people. The book is still available out there. Let's support the creators of this book while we still can, because it's out of print. So go check it out. These are Fiend Club mailings from circa 1982 to 1983. Wow. So this dude's from the UK, and he was getting stuff sent overseas. You can see some of the stuff. You can see some of the Glenn's writing letters right there. Here's an Evilive Plus. I mean, that's what Glenn's reaching out individually to these guys, and establishing these relationships, these connections, right? Through these letters. And you see every horror punk, copycat doing the same thing, and not just horror punk kids, just like anybody, who's smart, does this. This is a classic one. So I scanned Steve Zing's. I have Steve Zing's personal copy, and there you go. There's a nice flyer. You can see this also in 1979, a year of horror punk, where we dive into all this. But look at these flyers, man. And Glenn's just doing this all by hand. He's laying this out and Xeroxing it. I always love this stuff. I always love this. Hey, Fiends, it's the new Misfits t-shirt order form. What? Just genius, man. Just fucking genius. And he probably cut that out. That probably came from some magazine right there, and he just cut that out and repurposed it himself. And then here you go. There's just all the stuff. And this was sustaining Glenn, man. Glenn had kids writing to him. He's pressing up these t-shirts, and he had some business operation going on. Look at all that. Whoo, boy. Let's see if there's any. I've actually never seen this one. Look at that. Let's see if I can read it better. Sorry, sometimes it goes out. Evilive is out now. Cool, man. Really fucking cool. This one I think I've seen before. No, I have not. Aha, just when you thought you had all the Misfits t-shirts, there wait. Yes. I'm so sorry. Aha, just when you thought you had all the Misfits t-shirts, there were foolish fiends. Gaze upon these ghastly editions. And look at this one, just done just for the fits by artist Pusshead. That little devil. Well, later, ghouls and gals. There you go. And Pusshead is the guy who interviewed Glenn forever. Look at that, man. That's just white on black with nothing else. Allow a few weeks for delivery. Man. Wow. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. I wonder if that's rare. This one's common. I've seen that. I have this. I've done so much stuff with this Photoshop wise. I love this one. This is really great. I've repurposed that. Jill Cargman from the Jill Cargman Show and Odd Mom Out, I've never heard of them, says, I grew up in New York City and went around by myself starting at about 8 years old. Please don't take a time machine back and arrest my parents. I became fixated on taking the subway to the East Village and would visit the old trash and vaudeville store on St. Mark's. And I remember them playing Misfits and selling tons of their merch. And their whole thing had the aura of edgy throttle that I needed in my little kilt from my Upper East Side all-girl school life. Wow. Cool, man. I've never seen that mailer ever. I've never seen that one either. Whoa. Look at that, man. Holy hell. That is fucking cool. Dave says, would you say sustaining comfortably just getting by, or was he doing really good from it? You know, man, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think he was making, let's put it this way. You know, as far as, Glenn was living at home for quite a while. And I think that he was making enough money to sustain his lifestyle without having to get a real job. Which is, I mean, more power to anybody who has the fucking ability to do something like that. That's my dream. I don't want $1 million. I just want to, make a living from the art I create. I think that's what any artist really wants. And that's what Glenn was doing. He was living, that's the American dream right there, in my opinion, truly. So I don't know. I can't really say, how well he was doing. I don't know. I don't know, man. But he was definitely, man, that's what he was doing. That's how he got income, Abby Mahler says, I remember Glenn silk screening Misfit t-shirts in the basement of his parents' home in Lodi, New Jersey. He was a talented, ingenious promoter of his band and created hand-screened posters, t-shirts, envelopes, and much, much more. Misfits imagery on wearable merchandise was as visually appealing back then as it is today. Couldn't say it better. Couldn't have said it better, man. Couldn't have said it better. And that sustained that dude. Here you go. That's that Halloween shirt. Tanner from our group did his own version that came out pretty good. I saw that. I thought that was pretty awesome. And look at this with the bones. I don't know if Robbie Bloodshed's still here, but Robbie sent me a care package one time of his band, And Robbie very affectionately did the bones on just like this on his packaging. I thought that was really awesome. A really nice touch, so much so that I actually say I still have it somewhere tucked away. I saved the packaging. I appreciate stuff like that when musicians go to those kind of lengths. And I think that's a testament to the success of Glenn Danzig. Truly. Look at that one. I think this is one of the first ones, right? Let's see if I can. I think this is from 1979. I remember the 1979 ones originally kind of looked like this. And that's when Steve Zing and Bruce Wingate from AOD both had one. Let's see who this one is. I can't read it. Fuck. Oh my god. Fuck, I can't read it. It's not focusing. Whew. Let's see here. Andy Cruz from House Industries, House 33. I first discovered the band at a skate contest in the early 80s. The cool kids were off to the side with fashions that signaled their favorite bands instead of their favorite skateboard companies. One wearing a Misfits t-shirt, Misfit shirt, kicked toward the ramp and pulled one of the most impressive method airs I've ever witnessed, complete with a cigarette in his mouth. In that moment, I realized something, and it had less to do with neon dragons and technical maneuvers and more to do with black shirts and delivering a simple message with style. Well fucking said again. That is cool, man. Here you go. Just all sorts of stuff. Look at that, man. That bullet is colored like a horror business. Look, there's horror business and there's bullet. Holy crap. Phenomenal. That is something else. That looks like the shirt that Glenn wore at Max's Kansas City. Let's see here. And here's a quote from Howie Pyro. I bet this will say. Let's see what this says. Fuck. Just gonna look up here. Take off my mysterious disguise. The work center for all Misfit stuff was Jerry's room at his parents' house. That was the first place I saw a Teenagers from Outer Space movie poster. The room was pretty big, and there was always food and whatever you needed at Jerry's house, like a dream. This was 78, 79, and 80. All we had was TV, records, and the radio. We read monster magazines and comics and make art, poster shirts, and buttons, things I didn't even do with my own band. Those times were everything I wanted in life and still are. Jerry had a pile of weird t-shirts, some real ugly polyester-like ones. One time we were hanging out and making buttons and screen printing the now famous Max's Kansas City posters, and I grabbed the ugliest t-shirt and screened it with the poster art. Wow, the shirt was so ugly I never wore it, and I guess that's it right there. Wow. And I think Glenn wore something like that, right? I gotta fix my glasses here. We're gonna go dark for 1 second. Fix my glasses. I think Glenn wore a shirt like that. Man, that is so cool. That might be one of my favorite quotes from this book yet, from Howie Pyro, who you can see in my documentary. He is there. Yeah, ever so briefly. I love the ring tee. This is such a great merch design, I think. I'll tell you, as I'm currently looking into printing t-shirts right now, again, for the first time in 8 years. I made some video business media shirts back in the day. And I think this style, this is my favorite style. That's what I want on t-shirt. And I'm thinking, man, maybe that's what I'm going to do for my designs that I will be unveiling in the future. The Crimson Ghost was a stark, simple. Here we go. Look at this. Matt Kelly from the Dropkick Murphys. The Crimson Ghost was a stark, simple code for good taste, bad taste. Back before grunge blew up and prepackaged punk was just another pastime, you'd see someone with a Misfits shirt and rest assured they were in the know. And that goes back to what I was saying about being in the fraternity, about being a part of the secret club. You see somebody wearing that shirt and you go, oh, they're a fucking fiend, just like me. And you don't know each other. You're on opposite sides of the sidewalk and you tilt your glasses and you go, because you're in the know. That's the type of cult brother sisterhood that this band brings together, right? More shirts. I always love the Legacy of Brutality art. I just love it, man. I think this is so great. Mike Antonio from Killswitch Engaged. My most prized my most prized Misfits memorabilia had to be a shirt I received from Erie Vaughn that was hand screened by Glenn in the mid 80s. The image is of Sean Wyatt's Singing Danzig. So that's the Singing Danzig. That's the 1979 Danzig, right? The from those photographs, man, when you really think about it. Except with a crazy studded belt, man. So it's the Singing Danzig on the back cover of Legacy of Brutality album. It was originally gifted to Erie by Glenn back in the day and never worn. I had it framed on full display in my house, and it's the biggest gem in my collection. I stare at it constantly. I would too. Here again, here's that hand-colored Night of Living Dead shirt. I own one of these personally. It's dirty, filthy, not in any condition like this, but to me, I would never sell it anyway. It's a prized possession. And I own one of these too, the sleeveless Beware. I own both of these shirts right here. That's so crazy to me that they're both in there, huh? Wow. Except they're a lot cleaner and neater. I guess they cut the sleeves off. Oops, I hit that comment by accident. All right, Ryan Clark from Invisible Creature and Demon Hunter says, I've always been drawn to bands with a strong visual aesthetic, and the Misfits seemed to have that component with gritty finesse. Wow, I love that. They had that component with gritty finesse. Whether or not they understood the genius of their imagery at the time, it's as rock solid today as it was then. Well said. Truly timeless classic and eternally ripped off. Hell yeah, baby. Eternally ripped off and will be to the end of time, including from this guy himself. All of us. Come on. I only wish Glenn did like 100 more that we could fucking riff on because they're so cool. But it's like trying to get into that mindset of like what he was thinking and trying to make original stuff that looked like that. I try to do that too. If you look at the thumbnails for this, if you look at the thumbnails for my YouTube channel for these episodes, you'll see that sort of attempt, those attempts of trying to get in that graphic designing mindset. And you'll notice it. They came from Lodi logo is obviously a super big ripoff of that. And if you look at the band, if you click on the banner, you'll see this like weird sort of cemetery tombstone with this I don't know, this statue. And that just seemed to me, I was looking through the paper and I was like, that's something that Glenn would have riffed on in the Misfits. So I tore it out and I tried to do something with it. So I relate to that a lot. Growing up a pastor's kid, I wasn't allowed to wear the kinds of punk and metal shirts that I wanted to, so I used to change into them after I got to school. Several of these were Metallica shirts that Puss had designed. He was my favorite illustrator back then, and he still is today. I was always enamored by his skulls. His style is so gritty and gnarly. Misfits were obviously the other band besides Metallica that Pusshead did a lot of work for. So I really began to get acquainted with the band more and more by virtue of that connection. I actually had the words fear and hope tattooed on my lower knuckles, which were both featured on those same knuckles as illustrated by Pusshead on the Metallica shirts. Wow. Fucking cool, man. Here we go. Some more shirts. Some wolf's blood. That must be I wonder if that's a later design. Some Earth AD. Well, those had to be 83, 84, 85, something like that. Who knows? Love this. The Happy Halloween. That's probably from 1981, does it say? A Walk Among Us ad from 1982, right there. Get it before it's too late. I wonder if that was like an attempt to sort of rip off Glenn's design work. And this is everybody has that, right? Or has seen this. This is the announcement. One of the final press releases while the band is still around. I believe it mentions the tour in Germany, right? Maybe. I'm not going to read through all that. Yeah, it talks about reissuing Beware and Evilive. And there's a tour itinerary, a press release, and a tour itinerary. I mean, so Glenn's got the Fiend Club up and running, and now he's got a pipeline for his announcements. You know, that's the brilliance of having a pipeline, of having a mailing list, right? It becomes your pipeline directly to your audience without needing a middleman. That is, if you're an artist of any kind, I don't care what the fuck you're doing. If you're fucking painting microscopic hippos on grains of rice, if that's what you do, if you need to have a mailing list. I have a mailing list, but I gotta update it. But that is like that's like rule number one when trying to touch your base. I don't know, it's some sort of hand colored friggin' Crimson Ghost. God, there's nothing like seltzer. And there's another one right there. Does it explain it? Oh, this is a glow in the dark Crimson Ghost right here. Wow. Look at that. Glow in the dark Crimson Ghost, cardboard cutout in the light. That's in when it was light, and that's in the dark. It glows in the dark. Wow. This is a sticker sheet right here. And over here, this is a press stamp and guitar pick, collected interviews and a press kit, logo stamp and guitar pick. Cool. Wow. Wow. We're almost at the end of this book, guys. Oh, buttons. Buttons. Look at all the buttons. You know what I don't see here? I don't see the We Are 138 button. How about that? Look at that, though. Wow. I'm just going to go real slow, okay? Let's just look at all the buttons. Man, oh man. You know what the problem with buttons like this? I have a Samhain button that was gifted to me by Steve Zing. And I'll tell you what, I would love to wear it, but I'm so afraid. Look at that right there. Wow. That must have been early as fuck. I would never wear it, man. I don't want to wear it because I'm too afraid that I will lose it. It's just too. Look at that. There you go. The Psycho 78. Beautiful, man. So much. I mean, just so much care and never seen that one before. Wow. That is great. That's just so great. Misfits and Fiend Club buttons. All right, here we go. Here's Howie Pyro again. Let's see if this is as good as his last one. Buttons were everything in the punk days. I think that's because they were keeping with the DIY spirit of it all. Like flyers, a button could be made by anyone, and most importantly, anyone could afford a button. When we made them, we sat in Jerry's room at his parents' house and listened to records or watched TV or both. But mainly it was about being together and being excited about life, about the interests we shared and the endless stream of ideas we were coming up with back then. The button making machine itself was like a metal contraption with a round, loose part and a handle, kind of like an old-fashioned orange squeezer. Typically, we'd cut things out of magazines and comic books, so that's probably what that one right there is. That's probably that's from some magazine or comic book, right? And that's probably from a comic book right there too. Wow. Kind of like an old-fashioned orange squeezer. Typically, we'd cut things out of magazines and comic books, but to make the buttons like the Misfit ones, we had to go to the Xerox shop, make a template of the correct size circles, and cut and paste imagery in that space. Wow. Then go back and have color Xeroxes made. No computers. That's Photoshop, baby. Then back home, you'd cut them out and place them all into the button pieces in the machine in the right order, the back first, then the Xerox, and finally the round plastic piece. We stacked them in the orange squeezer and pushed the handle down as hard as we could, and it formed the button. One at a time, over and over again. There were tons of mistakes, believe me, but you can be sure that every single one of those buttons had teenage sweat and dedication all over it. Wow, man, that was fucking beautiful to read. That was so, wow. That was worth the price of this book alone. That single paragraph right there for me personally. Posthumous. 1984 to 2001. All right, I'm going to, should I save this one? All right, I'm going to save this one, but there's another. That's a little long. We'll save that one. Okay, I'm going to read it. What the fuck? Growing up in the barren American Midwest in the early 1980s was rather desolate and bleak. I had a passion for classic horror films, which was supplied by the Indiana television horror host Sammy Terry. When I was introduced to punk rock music through my passion for skateboarding, discovering the brilliantly macabre imaginative mind of Glenn Danzig felt like a sign from God, or perhaps the devil. I actually was exposed to Samhain first. Perhaps that in and of itself allowed me a different perspective on Danzig's world. Upon first hearing Samhain, I knew I had found absolute perfect music for my tastes. A combination of classic horror films and the aggressiveness of punk rock, all conjured together by master songwriter and visionary Glenn Danzig. Shortly after falling under the spell of Samhain, a friend exposed me to the Misfits. It was so different from Samhain in many, many ways, but it still held that same dark spirit. With their often up-tempo songs, the Misfits almost made you feel happy, juxtaposed against Glenn's tales of terror. Yeah, man. Aesthetically, the Misfits have always been perfection. The fact that they can invoke such a variety of musical styles under the banner is incredible. The Misfits and Glenn Danzig are legends beyond compare. That's Dwid Hellion from Integrity Holy Terror Records. And again, I think the perfect way to think of Samhain versus the Misfits is Halloween with trick-or-treating, Samhain with sacrifices 3,000 years ago. That's the difference between the two, right? Really, when you think about it. All right, so this is from 1984 and on. So here you have their first, their final. This is the final release for the Misfits, really, in terms of original material, I guess. I mean, you could include Legacy of Brutality, which has the other half of the Static Age sessions. I guess we'll include that as the final one, right? Really, truly. So there's 3 final releases to come out, but this is really the final one I don't know. I feel like this is the final release. And on the back, you have the pus head artwork, 3 different colors there. You got a dark purple, a lighter purple, and a white. And they took the cover from Chamber of Chills. We all know this to be true. Mike D'Antonio again. Ever since I first heard it, I love the song Die Die My Darling. That is that seems to be that's like a crossover breakthrough mainstream Misfit song. Die Die My Darling. Truly. Ever since I first heard it, I love the song Die Die My Darling. From the iconic cover to the B-side, We Bite, this 12-inch single, and that's true, it's a 12-inch single as opposed to the other singles, which are all 7 inches. This is the first time that Glenn finally gets to do a 12-inch single. The last thing that they put out is the first one that's 12-inch. Static Age, the very first thing they were going to put out would have been a 12-inch single, but they never put it out, which was Static Age and Teenagers from Mars. And they did do their first compilation, which was Beware, and that was on a 10-inch, I believe. I would spend hours listening to that record and attempt to draw the wine glass skull cover on my skateboard grip tape instead of doing my math homework. Time well spent, if you ask me. I can't overstate how much this art reminds me of my childhood. My eyes seem to recognize it even faster than they recognize my own mother. What a beautiful statement. Mommy! Matt Portland writes, growing up a skateboard kid. So now, you just have all the rest of these testimonies are just from skateboard kids, right? Growing up a skateboard kid in Portland, Oregon, I would catch the bus downtown to visit the skate and record shops. I remember seeing the Die Die My Darling poster with the purple lettering in 2nd Avenue Records, and I always loved that image. Punk was pretty big in Portland, with bands such as Defiance and Poison Idea. So there were always plenty of Misfits clothing. There was always plenty of Misfits clothing around. Most of what which were total bootlegs and knockoffs. Could you imagine all the money they would have made from the bootlegs and knockoffs had they managed to get like licensing fees? This is why this band is so controlling, man, because they just got ripped the fuck off. They got ripped off harder than any other band. They really did. And that's why they're so anal retentive when it comes to controlling this stuff. They go after people, man. Years later, I started doing art for bands. The Misfits logo and skull would come up a lot. Bands have requested countless times that their logo be iconic, like those of Metallica, Iron Maiden, or the Misfits. What these bands don't understand is that what made the Misfits logo cool is the Misfits themselves. You have to earn that. And that is so fucking true. You can have a really cool image, but it's the thing behind the image. And that's the thing about, an image like the Misfit skull is the calling card. It is the visual personification of all these other things without using words. That's what a logo is. And it's hard to build that kind of branding. Again, that's why these guys go to war over this stuff, because it's hard. And they're constantly afraid of it being usurped and taken over or exploited. They spent years and years and years. I don't know about Danzig, but Jerry and Doyle spent years and years and years not making any money off of it. So here's Misfits Legacy Brutality. I guess you can really, truly, utterly call this the final release, even if Mephisto Waltz came out on Collection 2. But we've talked here before. We've had the controversial debate. It's a secret Samhain song. There's the famous artwork that has the other half of Static Age on it. Also has American Nightmare, which had never been heard up until that point. Originally supposed to be on 12 Hits from Hell. While hardcore was generally more dressed down, the Misfits showed that having an image was also fun and cool. Their imagery, dark melodies, and darker romantic lyrics also made the Misfits one of the very few punk bands with a certain sex appeal. Interesting. A rare quality for a hardcore punk band, and that's Walter Schriefels from Quicksand and the Gorilla Biscuits. Sorry if I butchered your name, Walter. Here you go. This right here, there's only 16 of these in existence. This is a pink Legacy Brutality, and at one point it went for $10,000. I wonder if it goes for even more now. Michael B. Jeffers comments again. Misfits art and design is so fun. I riffed a couple of designs, Misfits and Ramones, to promote the Misfits Samhain cover set my band played last October. That's awesome. Michael, tell us about your band. Post your band link in the comments, man. Let's hear that shit. Or better yet, Michael, just post it to the group and we'll have a listen later to hear more about that. And if you got that set, post it in Russell Casualty's Misfits covers Facebook group 77 to 83. Go look for it. That's Russell Casualty from tvcasualty.com. Legacy Brutality compiled some of my all-time favorite Misfits tracks and features Hybrid Moments, which is arguably my favorite Misfits song. I could live with that song on repeat. Lots of 50s inspired tunes, which I personally love and which are covered darkness in a way that no one else has been able to replicate. That's Zacky Vengeance from Avenged Sevenfold. A lot of Avenged Sevenfold guys. Yeah, I guess when you think about it, it's like this comes out, and that's when people think of Hybrid Moments in the mid 80s, they go to Legacy Brutality, not Collection 2. So I guess this really truly is the final. That's the final, and it's a compilation, right? It's a compilation album, but that is truly the final official release by the Misfits 77 to 83, I guess. If we really want to, nail it down in some way, shape, or form. Few pages left, guys. Here we go. Here's an ad for Legacy Brutality right there. And another. Evil never dies, baby. Daryl Taberski from Snapcase. I'm just butchering all these last names because I just can't read. This album takes my mind right back to vert ramp skating This album takes my mind right back to vert ramp skating as I heard this album on steady rotation along with TSOL, another one of my all-time favorite bands, TSOL. If you're not familiar with TSOL, listen, if you like Samhain, if you like death rock and hardcore fused together, then you will love TSOL. So TSOL fuses death rock and hardcore in a completely different way than what Samhain did. So check out TSOL, Dance With Me, one of my, just a fucking phenomenal album. Beneath the Shadows, phenomenal album. I love those fucking guys to death. I have so much respect for TSOL. And Agent Orange at our local skate ramp in the late 90s. Those were truly some of the best times of my life, and I can almost feel the energy of the ramp sessions when I hear those songs, man. So it's just like the skateboard culture of the 80s and 90s adopts this stuff. There it is. There's my first Misfits album. Collection 1 at the age of 15, man, in the year 2001. That was it for me, man. Ever since, going on, wow, it's been 19 years. Holy shit. And there's the, wow, I forget what the back cover looks like. And this is cool. So again, notice the cross. So check this out. So as you can see, Glenn's putting his hands up and then he's projecting the Crimson Ghost onto, so he's wearing his bone shirt and then he's projecting the Crimson Ghost onto his face to create this insane image. It's kind of like oh, you know what I just realized? My bad. He's not crossing his fingers, crossing his arms. That's the Crimson Ghost. He's standing there in his bone shirt and he's got the Crimson Ghost projected on himself onto his face. One of the coolest, most iconic images of this band, and so eerie. And it's just like, what an image, you know, it's just like, you look at that and you just like, what the fuck is that? Where is that from? I need to know more. Matt Kelly writes from the Dropkick Murphys. I was sitting on the front steps of St. Leo's school waiting for friends to show up. My buddy Brian's older sister, Bridget, was in high school then and had introduced us to some current heavy metal stuff. But I, for one, was looking for something a bit more, I don't know, subversive, more real. I had heard of the Misfits and other hardcore punk stuff and had seen the older skateboarders with Misfits t-shirts here and there, but I was 11 or 12 years old and didn't know where to get a hold of this stuff. The dubbed Maxwell tape. There you go. There's your dubbed Maxwell tape again. The dubbed Maxwell tape Brian brought in that day was Collection 1. It was, I wish they weren't called Collection 1 and 2. I wish they had cooler names than just Collection 1 and 2. It just, I don't know. That doesn't work for me. And by this time, Glenn is really working with Caroline's. This is when Caroline comes into full swing. And this is when Glenn is making good money off of the Misfits catalog with, you know, no one to contest royalties. I mean, all that is going in Glenn's pocket. I had once heard a long time ago, and I don't think it's true, but I had heard, please take this with the biggest grain of salt because I don't believe it to be true. But someone said, oh, Glenn was a millionaire back in the Samhain days. And while I don't think he was a millionaire, Glenn started making Glenn was making good. So to the flip side of that comment about, like, you know, the t-shirt business this is where Glenn's really making the fucking money at this time. He's not paying out no royalties are getting paid out, and all the publishing and songwriting, all that stuff is going directly in Glenn's pocket, and he would pay dearly for it later. He's still paying for it today in some ways. The dubbed Maxwell tape Brian brought in that day was Collection 1. It was queued up to Where Eagles Dare, and Brian said, Matt, check this out. I grabbed the Walkman, put on the headphones, and pressed play. The feedback came in, the bass and the drums pounded, the pick slide ripped in, and it all just clicked for me. Damn, that's beautiful right there. And I love the mixes. I love these mixes. I love the mixes on this one. As a matter of fact, I prefer them to most of the single mixes, and I love the mixes on Collection 2. This right here is, I guess, half a Samhain album. This is Samhain doing the Misfits, right? And Mephisto Waltz is a completely original song, essentially. I wonder if that gets mentioned. Hold on, let's read this. Oh my God. Holy shit, there's still more to go. Dude, it's fucking midnight. I got to go to sleep. All right. Here's the beautiful, that's the 12-inch version of Evilive that got repressed, I guess, through Caroline. And look at the gore. That's what Glenn intended for Walk Among Us, right? Truly. Ken Barber writes, unlike the other bands who seemed content on rehashing the latest trends, the Misfits developed a distinct persona that extended beyond the music they made. On the surface, they checked all the boxes you expect to find in a run-of-the-mill punk-style guide. The skull logo, gritty, high-contrast black and white photography, studded leather jackets. But Glenn made it personal by throwing his interests into the mix. I had to work to decode some of the strange imagery and references, but that's what makes being a fan of the Misfits all the more rewarding. I later took a similar angle with my design and lettering work, looking to my own obsession and diversions for inspiration. Yeah, there you go. And there it is. And again, also the artwork. It's just so fucking unoriginal, man. I'm sorry. It bothers me the way these packages were put together. And I don't know what if Glenn had. I don't think Glenn really had a say in them. I'm not a big fan. Sorry, Tom. Love you, Tom Begawitz. I don't know if you were behind these personally, but it just doesn't gel for me, man. It doesn't. Jill again. I grew up in the Jewish version of the Addams Family. We were very macabre and often spoke about death and who was about to croak. Glasses are fogging up. It sounds dark, but we were actually a happy family because we relished everything. The extra dessert, a brisk walk, music, anything that makes you feel alive. I found that through our own morbid prism, we appreciated life more than others. My dad has affinity for Dutch vanitas, still painting with a skull alongside beautiful objects like jewels and instruments, possessions you couldn't take with you to the grave. As a result, I love skulls and found them rather life-affirming, and thus the band's Crimson Ghost and Horror Monster logo were always super cool for me. Jill isn't. I don't know who Jill is or what her relation is to this band. I guess maybe someone knew her and was like, "Hey, why don't you contribute to this book?" That's interesting. Here you go. There's that box set, and wow, look at this box set production shots. This probably comes all from Tom Begawitz right here because he designed it. The guy who authored this book designed this box set. For those who are not aware, right? Very subtle wood grain effect on the exterior paint. Yeah, wow. I remember Tom was telling me, I've interviewed Tom extensively about the making of this box set and stuff. Maybe I'll just put that out there after. I don't know if that will find its place in the documentary. Maybe I'll just put it on my YouTube for those who want to hear Tom talk about that stuff because it's rather interesting. Here you go. So he originally wanted like a coffin more like this. This was too expensive to produce. But take a look at what he intended, right? Let's see here. Fuck, I can't fuck these glasses. I'm tired of the glasses. So you have the interior with a faux velvet lining, some form of rope to hold the top, the cover to the base. So cool. And then that's what he was thinking in terms of, and that's how it came out. This is also, I'm not a big fan of this either. This doesn't feel very much in continuity with the artistry of the Misfits. Just this does. It's interesting to see where it originally comes from. Again, no offense, Tom. Just my personal taste. Kind of reminds me of the Arkham Asylum. I wonder if they got the Arkham Asylum guy to do that work. I don't feel it's very fitting with the continuity. However, everything else, I mean, and again, that's just my personal taste in art. That has nothing to do. I'm not saying that it's not good. It's definitely fucking good. It's just not when I think about art, it's just not my personal cup of tea. That's the way I'd rather put it. But still, you can see all of the wonderful tender, loving care that Tom put into this packaging. He really did. The effort. And, you know, it's so sad that I don't know about Jerry and Doyle, but, you know, Danzig was such a dick to Tom. He's such a dick. He didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve the way he was treated because, you know, I mean, Tom is just like, he's solidifying, you know, he's archiving this dude's legacy in this box set. I don't know. Kind of crazy. Oh, here you go. Here's Tom. Let's see what Tom says about everything. Glenn sent me. Oh, here you go. Oh, he's telling this. This is the greatest story in the world. I'm going to read this. Ready? Glenn sent me his stored collection of master tapes in late August. Of course, he would include the story. Why wouldn't he? Glenn sent me his stored collection of master tapes in late August 1995, and I went to pick them up from his lawyer's offices. I was like they said. He said this in my interview. He said, like a kid in a candy store, and there's really no other way to put it. There were a lot of tapes to sort through, and my mind was reeling. I had to call a cab and load everything in myself while sweating like a fiend before heading back to the Caroline Records office to catalog everything and create a game plan. From that point forward, through the remainder of 1995, I spent my time working with AGI, packaging manufacturer, Roger Gorman, the design, and Dave McKean, illustration. So I guess Dave McKean did the illustration that it's not my particular cup of tea here. Or maybe he did this one. I don't know. And Jerry only for photos and his infectious enthusiasm. The CD. So Glenn had no part in the creation of any of the Caroline stuff, as far as I know. The CD package, originally conceived for the delayed static age, was now going into effect along with 3 silver ink injected black slimline CDs. Nobody had created a coffin-shaped box set before. It's true. And everyone except for the accounting department was excited to say that some Caroline, and it came with a fucking pin. It really is. It's one of the greatest. It's one. Okay, again, now I sound like I'm trying to over compensate for my comment before, but it's really true. I really don't want to. I don't want to undermine how fucking incredible this box set was, especially if you were a fucking fan in the fucking 90s. Holy fucking shit. I would have been so excited. Nobody had created a coffin-shaped box before, and everyone except for the accounting department was excited to say that some Caroline employees were nervous would be a fair assessment. Yeah, because I mean, eventually it did go gold. After all, this was a very expensive box set with custom dies and a costly process at every step. They go for a pretty penny now. Roger and I even had plans to had plans drawn up for a wooden box. That's what that is right there. That made a creaking sound when open, but these ideas were far too expensive even for the ultra limited edition version. And again, if you look somewhere in one of these episodes is me retelling Tom's story that he told me about how what he did. Tom is responsible. By the way, the only reason why you're listening to the Misfits on CD and like listening now to like not like shitty recordings or only vinyl rips is because Tom saved the master tapes. He saved them from destruction. He digitized them as they were being destroyed. It's a hair-raising story, to say the least. Go back through the episodes and find it if you dare, if you can stomach my talking, and listen to that, because that or listen to that story, or maybe you could find an interview with Tom somewhere talking about it. It's toe curling in scariness when you think about how at any one point those tapes could have been destroyed. I mean, he's literally digitizing the tape as it's disintegrating. It's disintegrating right after it goes through the playhead. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but crazy story. And thank you, Tom. And here we go. The Static Age, man. There it is. And it came out on these 3 colors initially. You have your yellow, red, purple. Beautiful packaging, beautiful design. It's still repressed all the time. Very, very well done. Right? Why is this? What the fuck is going on here? Well, as long as it's here. There's the back cover right there. Why did this stop? Well, I don't know. Mark Kennedy. Yeah, Mark. So we have Mark Kennedy, the founder of Misfits. The songs on Static Age are great, and the sound is simultaneously raw and grand. I love the guitar tone and the vocal delivery, especially on In the Doorway and Come Back, the latter of which has the most memorizing bass lines and drumming of any Misfit song. I agree, man. I love Come Back a lot. The album has hints of everything the Misfits would do later, as well as displaying what they had done before. Well said, Mr. Mark Kennedy. One of the nicest, most awesome dudes I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, Mark Kennedy. Ryan Clark from The Invisible Creature and Demon Hunter. To me, this album embodies everything quintessential about the band. The lo-fi audio quality is something that I find I'm always referencing when talking about how rad music can still sound on a live, gritty side of the spectrum. And that's because they recorded this live, as we said. Apparently, Glenn was sitting in a chair while he was doing his vocals. Very few overdubs were done. There was one overdub done by Mr. Jim on the beginning of Return of the Fly. And they did it, and they had 30 hours of recording time to do it. And you know the legend of the Static Age. My all-time favorite song, Misfit song, is Some Kind of Hate. It's got the classic whoa chant, a simple but catchy riff, a nice key change in the bridge, and a 6-second guitar solo that, despite being suited to someone who first picked up a guitar yesterday, just rules. Wow. Excellent wordage. The song manages to check every box in just 2 minutes. Let's see here. You have Some Kind of Hate, you have 138, and you have Teenagers from... No, and you have I Turned Into a Martian. Are there any other Misfit songs that have guitar solos? I don't think so. Someone prove me wrong. Someone bring up another one. Maybe don't know what I'm talking about. Here we go. The One That Got Away. This was not Glenn's intended layout. This was a layout concocted by Tom Begawitz, using Eerie Vaughn's shots. I'm sure that pissed Glenn off too when you think about it. That Glenn and Eerie don't talk anymore, and here's Eerie's shots in that way. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And then this is the original. Tom took a piece of paper that we saw earlier and wrote out the track listing on the back like that, including a alternate take to London Dungeon. 12 Hits from Hell from 2001, unreleased, right? Front and back of the jacket and inner sleeve. The MSP sessions of August and September 1980 captured the performances of Glenn Danzig, Jerry Only, and Arthur Googie, with guitars by Bobby Steele and later Doyle, and also, let's not forget, Robbie Alter and probably Glenn Danzig. Never intended to be released as a 5-piece performance, the tapes were mixed and mastered using all 5 members' tracks in July 2001. Although the CD was manufactured and LP jackets and sleeves were printed, the project was canceled at the request of the band and never officially released, although some promo copies did make it into the wild. Russell Casualty says Theme for a Jackal has something akin to a solo. I'm gonna have to listen back. What part are you talking about, Russell? Doon, 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 doon. Oh yeah, that's right. The guitar, the piano. Yeah, there's a little piano sort of solo thing. Okay, Russ, I'll buy that for $1. Here's some interior photos of the band, right? For the never before released, and these are liner notes. Those are liner notes. Man, I wonder if you can read them. They're so small. Damn. Armand says, undulating vocal melodies weaving through simple, brutal songs is where the Misfits' genius lies. Right, exactly. Melody surfing on punk rock, buzz sawing guitar, Ramones style instruments. Blah, blah, blah. The mixing of contagiously catchy verses with their trademark anthemic chants, which I think are single-handedly responsible for the millennial whoop that became so ubiquitous. Whether the pop stars of today know it or not, Credit must be given to the Misfits for all the infectious woes that are so easily and loudly replicated by English and non-English speaking audiences worldwide. Very true. You don't know, you don't speak English, you can still woe. You can woe, no, or go. Stoplight. Many bands since the Misfits, including Sick of It All, have relied on this tried and true method of getting the audience to participate. Coming close, guy. Oh, the final page by Tom Begawitz. I'm not going to read it, Tom. I'm going to leave this for. You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Let's read this. This is the final. If this is our Jerry Springer final thought, and it should come from Tom. Let's do it justice, shall we? Acknowledgements by Tom Begawitz. The story begins with our editor, Garrett McGarth, who reached out and asked me to create a book that celebrated the visual history of the Misfits. Without him, this book simply wouldn't exist. Together, we combined the visual idea with my concept of influence and how much the band's music and visual legacy changed the lives of artists around the world. In that influence lies an undeniable proof of the band's brilliance, thus the subtitle of this book. When I tried to imagine tackling this project by myself, I simply couldn't come to grips with the thought. I wanted a collaborator who I could trust, who could bring knowledge and talent to the book, and whose world of influence, contacts, and style were different than my own. Without hesitation, I went to my friend and colleague, Jeremy Dean, and asked him to join me for the ride. Thankfully, though not surprisingly, he agreed without hesitation. But I wonder if the book got another reason why they went after this book, besides all that other stuff, was because of their history with Tom. Tom did all these releases for the band, and so there's a history there. And who knows if that added fuel to the fire for trying to sue to shut down the book. Thankfully, though not surprisingly, he agreed without hesitation. A book like this is extremely intensive labor of love, and admittedly, we both had our good and bad days. All along, however, we supported each other and had a blast nearly every step of the way. More importantly, our friendship survived. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. Creating this book offered us a great excuse to work closely with renowned Misfits archivist, Umberto. What's up, Umberto? His commitment to and passion for preserving the history of the Misfits is unmatched, and that deserves respect of anyone who loves the history of rock and roll. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to usher a portion of his immense collection out of the darkness and into the light of day for everyone to enjoy. To hold it and to see it firsthand, well, that was priceless for Jeremy and me. Beyond the archives themselves, Umberto also brought several contributors to the table whose words and images help expand the visual and influential story being told here, and the book is all the better for it. Couldn't agree more. Well said, and a hat off to Umberto, to Jeremy, and to Tom. One doesn't get a project like this off the ground without early support from those around you. For me, it was from my wife, Jennifer, who had to hear about the stress, the successes, and each and every rambling nerd level story along the way, as well as endearing our dining room being turned into a photo studio. I don't know if Tom still lives where he lives in, I will not say the location out of respect for Tom, but it's a very pretty table from what I remember, if he still lives the same place 9 years later. For Jeremy and me, it was from Dave Walling, who came on board from the get-go and helped us feel like we had something to build from. Same with my brother Chris and his friend Andrew Onstead. Without people saying fuck yeah and putting action behind their love of the Misfits, none of this could have been accomplished. Much respect and many thanks to you all. Finally, most of us have found ourselves from time to time scrolling endlessly through Misfits Central over the past 25 years. That's right, baby. It all goes back to Misfits Central. It would be a crime. Oh, Tom, fuck yeah. Fuck the fuck yeah. It would be a crime not to acknowledge Mark Kennedy and the website he has put so much into. Mark and I got to know each other during my years working with the band at Caroline Records. He is a man of integrity. He is a man of integrity and commitment, and is someone who deserves a nod when discussing this band's ongoing legacy. And that's why I'm so pleased that he's in the doc. I've said it many times before. The Misfits are a rite of passage. Their story continues to unfold as each generation discovers the songs, the Crimson Ghosts, and the fire that burns so brightly for this band. It is fascinating to watch, and watch it we will. Scream with me, my friends. Scream with me. I sure will. Well, that was beautiful, man. That was so pretty. That was well said. Woo! There I am. That was good. And that does it, man. That's the end. That's the end of the book. We did it. It took us five chapters, 5 parts, just like we did five of Little Fiend, and now it's over. I have some ideas for future episodes. Like I said, I have some merch designs coming, some t-shirts and things. Some of it is for They Came from Lodi, the documentary, or just like whatever this is, They Came from Lodi. But it's also, if you are just a fan of the Misfits and Samhain and Danzig in general, and are familiar with some of the internet online jokes, you will appreciate some of the designs I'm trying to put together. I hope they have a quality to them that would be befitting to this band. Umberto's here. Umberto, read the second paragraph. I hope I did, Umberto. I think that was read in the final. Francois says, does the Misfits are still with Caroline? Because I checked on the site and there's nothing. No, I think so. I think the Caroline still has the right to press up Static Age. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that. No, I don't think they're with Caroline anymore. I don't. Thank you, Umberto, for putting together this book. And really, your love for this band is tenfold. And truly, Umberto, you should be in the documentary too. You should come to my house, or I could come to your house and sit you in front of your collection and do an interview with you if you're interested. Kind of a weird thing to ask on air, but you should really be in this thing too, man. Your passion is so immense and wonderful, and should be included with all the other people that I have. I have Elizabeth, I have Mark, I have Jonathan Grimm. You should be in there too. And I'm hoping someday Devilman will jump on board. Michael B. Jeffers says, seems like you could read every single word in that book and everyone watching would still buy it. Collecting goes hand in hand with the nerdiness inherent in being a Misfits fan. You know, Michael, I think that's well said. I mean, that's part of the reason why I didn't want to read those extra long excerpts. I wanted to leave something for people that buy the book. I didn't just want to like put it entirely on the internet, but it is out of print, so there's that. You're very welcome, Russell Casualty. You're very welcome. Yes, okay, everybody's down for Umberto to do an interview. I don't know if Umberto can. There might be some red tape, but if Umberto, we'll talk. Umberto, I'll follow up with you sometime. Don't feel so on the spot. I don't know if you're still there or not. So okay, that's another episode. Wow, we went long. That was an hour and 40. I thought this would be like an hour. Shit. So a couple of episodes that I want to do in the future, just to get before I go. So one thing that I want to do is I want to have, since we have a little community here, I think it would be nice. I think this would be a lot of fun. We should do some sort of episode where I'm going to put the invite link, like see how this side of the screen right here allows people to join in or whatever. I'm going to put the invite link one day in the comments, and we'll have people come on, take turns. I think I can have up to 3 people in here. And maybe we'll make it a massive episode, and we'll get people one by one in here, kind of just being like, yo, what's up? Doing a shout out, saying something if they want to say about the Misfits or Danzig or Samhain, or, you know, if they have something that they want to ponder, we can, I don't know if I'll be able to answer questions, but like, you know, ponder, if we want something like, oh, I always wondered about this. What do you think of this? You know, we could do something like that.
And we're going to go over the Madison Square Garden show. That's another episode that will be coming up in the future. And of course, there's 1979. Keep your eyes peeled. It is coming. It is so detailed. Some of you have seen some of it already. You know how much detail is going into this shit. Again, thank you to everyone thus far who's bought me a cup of coffee. I'm trying to get to a place where I have this merch. So it's instead of, buying cup of coffee, like to, do something where, there's something is in addition to the content is returned or received in the form of a t-shirt of some kind. So we'll see how that works out. And that's it, guys. That's the end of the episode. And now we will stare into the void of affinity. Bloop, 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 bloop. Whoa, that is so trippy. Whoa. This kind of reminds me of the Afterlife in Beetlejuice. See what happens when I do that. Look. What? Whoa. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And then you can vary the speed, right? I'm having way too much fun right now. Thank you, Rue. Thanks for watching, Rue, and thanks for buying me another cup of coffee. I tip my hat to you, sir. All right, guys. I'm bouncing. I'm bouncing out. Peace and hair grease, as always.